back to the Anime Egotist, where, let's be honest, does anyone care if we survive or not? No, it's not. No tournament arcs for us, no character development, no nothing. But you got me, Foster, here, and I'm joined by someone who I'm not completely sure if I want him to be here or not.
That would be Williamson.
That's right. And if you've been with us before, you know we're fans of Pokemon, specifically the Pokemon anime, and we're here to talk about part 2 of Pokemon Journeys, the English dub version on Netflix. If you're looking for, if you want us to get to a particular episode, just let us know. Just let us know, and we might skip ahead to the sub. But we're still talking about that. We'll think about that.
I've already been spoiled for most of the major points that come up in the next part of the season.
It's Pokemon. So. You're gonna get spoiled regardless. And if I recall all correctly, the last time we talked about Pokemon Journeys, we talked about how it was off to a really good start. We liked a lot of the stuff that was happening. We liked a lot of the characters and just a lot of other varieties of stuff.
Yeah, and I think for the most part that seemed to hold true here. I think there was one episode that I felt they kind of went against character in a way. I'll bring it up when we get to that time.
You know, it's funny that you bring that up because as I was watching this, I was thinking, I don't know. If anything, I felt like things might have gotten a little worse. I was like, ooh, there were a couple of moments where I just I found myself not enjoying Journeys as much, but I don't know.
Yeah, there were some bad episodes, I would say, in this one. There were some good ones, though, I think, so.
Yeah, the last episode in particular, I really, really liked.
I also liked the first episode and the one with the substitute gym leader.
Yeah, I like that one too. I like both of those. But we might as well just get into it. Like I said, if you want our initial thoughts, go check out our other video. You can hear Williamson gush for 40 minutes about the Pokemon Journeys theme song.
I'm pretty sure that was you, but okay.
Either way, one of us did it and one of us was right. But either way, hey, let's start. What's our first episode for Pokemon Journeys? How did that start?
So it pretty much picks up at the exact same point that part 1 left off. They've just watched the Leon Lance battle in the Coronation Series tournament.
Okay.
Team Rocket had triggered a Gigantamax Dreadnought to appear.
That is correct.
So I had this point originally, but I kind of got rid of it. I didn't like that they gave Gigantamax Dreadnought a massive, like that super long neck that was like a pipe.
That's not even.
I just want to get that out there.
Yeah, a lot of the Dynamax and Gigantamax designs are kind of strange. And I guess we should get into it. It's sometime during the battle or when they're trying to protect the citizens against it. Ash and Go were like, if we don't stop this, they could disrupt the battle. And I'm like, and we could destroy the stadium and people won't have a place to battle. I'm like, well, there's also the thousands of people who are there who would tragically lose their life, but whatever. And I noticed Pikachu as a Dynamax Pokemon looks weird. It looks really weird.
It's because they go back to the classic design of like the first series where Pikachu was fatter.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. But what I did like is when Pikachu Dynamax, I did like how it took him a second to figure out how the hell am I supposed to battle. It's not just one of those things where he just immediately knew, all right, I know how to do this. Like, no, it took a couple of minutes, a couple of tries for them to figure everything out.
Another thing, because we've seen it before, and I guess it's kind of plays into the games, that when, like, it can happen to random wild Pokemon can Dynamax, like, out of control, like how Dreadnought did it and Snorlax from the first part. But then they showed that even trainers Pokemon, it's not just because they have a Pokeball doesn't not affect them.
Right. I will say, though, one of the things I don't like is because Because for those of you who don't know, in the last episode of part one, that's the cliffhanger. That's when they realize that Dreadnought has grown gigantic. And that's how the first part ends. And then the second part leads into them dealing with it. But what bothers me is that feels like that lasts about all of 7 minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Like the problem ends relatively quickly. Honestly, it almost makes you wonder what the point of even making it a two-parter was even. What was even the point?
Yeah, I think a better way would have been like a massive battle. In the end, Pikachu starts to Gigantamax, and that's when Leon shows up at the end of the episode. And then the next episode is Ash and Leon's battle, and then them talking about stuff that way.
Yeah, and I guess we should get to the next part of the episode, where Ash and Leon have their battle, and I think Pikachu got a little too much offense in during this fight. Look, I know Ash is technically a champion of some kind, but I don't know, something. It felt off to me that it wasn't as one side as it should have been to me.
Yeah, and bringing up that he's a champion. So after this, I also watched the uh, Sun and Moon tournament arc.
Yes.
Ash is shirking his duties technically because by winning the first tournament and then beating the the pretty much ranked Alolan's strongest trainer in Professor Kukui,
Right.
he should be acting as the champion of the league. He's what you strive to beat now. So, but they didn't do that. He didn't even. It's like,
Yeah.
something's wrong here. So
I mean, to be fair, I never expected him to stay in one region whenever he
I know.
would eventually win the league. But yeah, that is something. Also, I noticed. Well, before that, for those of you who don't know, things are a little different this time during the battles. There's this league of over 1,000 people. Well, and depending on how well you do in battles, well, that's what your ranking is. The top eight is Leon and just a bunch of other top trainers.
We know Lance. Those are the only two we know.
That's right. Right, Leon being at the top, and because of that, that gives Ash something to do. And I like that it's not just simple. That's not just straight up. Oh, gym battles. Go here. Go here. Go here. Go here. Which I want to talk about sometime down the line. But I do like that it's at least a little different.
So after watching this part of the season and then going back, I realized what I didn't like about Sun and Moon. There was no goal in Sun and Moon until like the third or second season when they introduced the Ultra Beasts, and then
Right.
so it was just school. Oh, there's the Island Challenge, but I think we got one in the first season.
Something like that.
So it was just it didn't fit. There was no end goal, and then all of a sudden they're like in the final one. Well, we need some sort of tournament arc to end it, so they added a tournament arc.
And I was like, because it's Pokemon, we need tournaments. And I've also noticed something. Because I noticed Ash's relationship to a lot of his other rivals, like his relationship with Paul, Morrison, Tripp, Alon, all those other ones. His relationship with Leon is a little different.
Yeah, it's more of a mentor-mentee style so far.
I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase. He seems a little too excited to talk about Leon most of the time. It's just like you get to battle Leon. He's the strongest. I'm like, all right, Ash, keep it in your pants. Relax, dude.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. I actually really like the idea of the World Coronation series, just so it's like it's like an international Pokemon tournament. It allows, so I kind of like that idea.
Yeah, the one thing that bothers me is what if it's like an upset win, like somebody who's in the thousands beats somebody who's in like the 50s or something like that. To me, it just seems weird that, oh, you win, so you automatically jump up. Like, what if you got lucky? But I'm sure they'll have some way of addressing that, but I don't know.
Maybe I don't know, because they kind of have played it off as like only the top 8 fight each other, who are like the master class, and then there's the ultra class, the great class, and the normal, and they only fight amongst themselves. But it's like, okay, well, what happens if you're the top ranked in a whatever like normal class? Well, now do you battle people in the normal class until they finally decide you're better than someone in the great class and get bumped
I
to it?
I don't know, dude.
Like,
I don't know. Oh, and I do love how they say how it's like, hey, do you if you want, you can decline. Because I just be like, no, I'm number one. I'm not battling anybody else. I'll be number one forever. Piss off.
I'm sure that if that was to happen, then they would have number two. If they beat enough of the other top ranked people, then they could probably be bumped up to number one because they actually battled.
Yes, and but here's the thing: I'll be training my Pokemon like crazy in secret, and then I'll destroy them and ruin that. Also, something I noticed: Team Rocket has a Pokedex with a Brooklyn accent.
And it's very unhelpful. It just
Yeah,
tells them what the name of the Pokemon is and then says, "Get over it," and turns off.
yeah. James used to have those flashcards with Pokemon. I feel like just go back to that. We don't need a. Why is there a Pokedex with a Brooklyn accent? I thought we were done with 4 Kids.
Yeah, I am happy though that while they've brought the Rotom phone as the new thing, it's still not as annoying as Rotom Dex from
Well, they
last
didn't
season,
make it a character. It's just a device at this point.
which thank God it is.
Yeah, Rotom Dex. Anyways, is that all for the first episode? What's next?
The only other thing I have, and this is just another discussion point. So I don't know if you remember, but from the very first series, there was an. It was, I think, after the cruise ship episode where Team Rocket and the gets the Magikarp and all that for the first time.
Yes, I remember what you're talking
There's
about.
the island of giant Pokemon.
Ah, right.
Are those Gigantamaxed, or is it just? Or I have a vague recollection that they might have been robots, but very vague.
Well, back in Kanto, the one you're talking about, they were robots, but I don't think that's supposed to mean anything.
I know, but I do like making these random connections, even
And
if they aren't real.
we'll get to giant Pokemon later down the line.
All right, so the next episode was the one where they go to the ruins.
Yeah.
That this one was one. Let's start with the nice part. I hope that whenever they either remake Gen 5 or we get a new game with a giant desert area, the way to travel in a desert area needs to be sand surfing.
Yeah, that looked awesome. I honestly thought, can we get this? Can I? No, in real life, can I just try? Can I get an animal to tow me around and do this? This would be a lot of fun. But
Yeah,
and another thing, I liked like the temple area that they went into. I liked that the explorer, like it looked cool. It looked like something that could be in the games and something that could be cool. But like
hmm
with like traps in different areas and puzzles to solve and everything. That was really cool to me.
yeah. And I liked Score Bunny in this episode just because it wanted to kill them by hitting the button.
Yeah, I felt, oh Jesus. Yeah, and the worst part about this is they kept stepping on booby traps. I'm like, okay, I can understand if you step on one, maybe two. But guys, it gets to the point where you keep stepping on. You think at some point you would notice, like, oh wait, no, don't step there, don't step there, booby trap. But no, and it's like, don't touch anything. And Scorbunny's just trying to touch it. I'm like, you're gonna
Yeah,
get them all killed.
and he knew it because he got upset when they told him no.
Yeah, and this is. I'm gonna be honest though, a lot of the side characters in that episode, like the guy who was looking for only shiny Pokemon, the weird type of
Lead
adventure.
the archaeologist guy or the female.
Both. Everybody was just kind of weird. Like it felt like the characters were just a little too weird for just one time only characters.
Yeah, I have a feeling. Well, no, because we've had other characters that weren't just redesigned background characters. So I doubt we'll see him again. Maybe they may get a cameo if they do another Ruins episode, but yeah. But I do believe this was the first time we ever heard a trainer from the anime universe use the term shiny hunting. We've had shiny Pokemon before, but I don't think we've ever seen someone say, I'm shiny hunting. I only want the shiny ones.
I don't think I've ever heard them say that either, so that might be a good pickup for you. Also, we had a giant Golurk. That's what it is?
Yeah, that brings up the point though, because okay, so I'm debating whether to forgive Ash for it, but in the same episode, there's Sandile, and Ash says you can't use an electric move on it
Okay,
because it's not
yes.
effective. But then at the end of the episode, when they're battling the Golurk, which is a ground type as well, he uses an electric move, and then Go tells him that he can't. It won't be effective. Now, the only reason I'm willing to forgive it is because Ash had owned a Sandile at one point.
Yes,
So,
he owns at least one of the evolutionary line of Sandile.
so that's why I'm a little bit more forgiving to it. But still, the fact that he said that in the episode and then proceeded to not understand that later on kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, and Scorbunny kept trying to kick it. I'm like, wait, don't Pokemon know their own disadvantages and advantages? Shouldn't they know this stuff? I don't know.
Yeah.
Overall, it had the episode itself had the potential to be something kind of cool, but overall, I don't know, it fell a little flat for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it was one of those. It was just an episode. It wasn't a bad episode, but it wasn't a great episode.
Which is kind of Pokemon's problem for me over the past several seasons. It's not that the episodes are bad; it's just that the episodes feel you can skip about 15 or 16 episodes and pretty much be in the clear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back because I'm going back to Sun and Moon because that was the most recent completed series, and then thinking like, okay, you have like the first two episodes that you kind of need to watch. Then you can skip 15 or 20, however many it is, till the Litten episode because you should watch that one.
Yeah.
Then you can skip to like Ash's Lycanroc evolution, and it's like there's a whole bunch of stepping stones you can go.
Yeah, it's just and I don't want to say Pokemon Journeys is becoming like that because I feel like it's a little different, but it is something to be cautious of. Anyways, what's the
Yeah.
next? What's the next episode we have? Episode 3.
Episode 3 was the power outage at the lab, so they were going home. So Ghost parents.
Oh, I actually remember liking that episode.
I did too. Ghost parents are the only ones that were worried about leaving their originally 5-year-old alone at home and then a 10-year-old alone at a lab.
Yeah, I did. I don't know. They made Go's parents kind of quirky, but not so much that it was distracting. Like they were a little scattered at times and a little overprotective, but at the same time they were likable. It's not like a bunch of other trainers' parents who's just like, okay, yeah, just come back when you want to, or just something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they were genuinely happy to see Go come home and were excited and then got upset when we have to go to the hospital to fix a computer problem, otherwise people will die kind of thing. It's like they were upset that they had to work, but they knew they had to. So
Yeah, but I will say one of the things I really appreciate is if Go had learned, hey, we have to stay behind for a little longer, so just give us some time. They didn't do the stereotype of him blowing up and be like, you never spend time, you never do. No, they didn't do that. They kept that trope far away from this episode, and I really appreciate that.
yeah, I got worried about. I think it was about halfway. It was before he left the house when they told him they had to go do some special project. They show him almost like on the verge of tears kind of thing. And Score Bunny's kind of worried.
Yeah.
It's like they're gonna do that, aren't they? And then they didn't do it. I'm like, oh, okay. He's gonna be like, I'm gonna take the initiative and go visit them. I'll bring them the soup.
That soup sounded good.
And then the second part was the Cubone bone thing.
Which I liked because it was Go. It was partly Go mainly by himself. I appreciated that. that, because sure, Ash is kind of a mentor figure to him, but at some point we have to see Go do stuff on his own. Sure, Ash came and helped at the last part, but for the most part, he was doing this on his own. He had his own story to do.
Yeah, and I liked this showed some character development, like because I mean, pretty much what we've seen Go was a very much a loner and didn't go out. He was doing research in the lab
Right.
with, and then Ash kind of has brought him out of his shell and forced him to reconsider how he was doing things.
Yeah, for better or for worse sometimes. But and as usual, I no no we'll get to that when we get to the I guess it's sort of a field trip episode, but I don't know. But overall, though, I thought it was good. I like Go's parents. His grandmother was going to a karaoke contest. I'm glad that wasn't the focus of the episode. If that was the
Yeah.
focus of the episode, you would have had to talk about this one without me. I'd be like, no, I skipped that.
Although the ending where Ash spent dinner with them and then like did his weird dance thing, it was kind of like why?
You know, I always remember everyone made fun of him in X and Y because he couldn't dance, and now we saw the Japanese opening of Pokemon Journeys. Now we're seeing this. I'm starting to think that he knows how to dance by this point.
Okay. But yeah, that's kind of about it for that. Trying to see where the break is on this next episode. Okay, I think the next episode is the one where with Gengar.
Another really good one.
Yeah, it's it's something that I don't remember them doing very often. They've done it, I think, in the first series with Charmander, the second or the fourth series with Chimchar, and
Chimchar,
now
yeah.
this one with Gengar, where kind of abuse, Pokemon abandonment is brought up, and it it gives some of the Pokemon depth.
Yeah, it does. I appreciate it that, and also one of the things I liked is all the other examples we've seen. Like you mentioned Charmander, you mentioned Chimchar. Like with the Pokemon are hesitant and scared and that sort of thing. But the second Gengar saw its old trainer, it was pretty much willing to kill it. It was I don't know. Not every Pokemon needs to be super sad and show that part off. You're allowed to be angry in this situation. You're allowed to want payback.
Yeah, the one of the things I like about this, it shows that not just the evil teams can be a bad guy in a way. There are trainers who have done other things differently and have turned out they're doing something wrong, like abandoning their Pokemon here.
Right. And of course we go through the rigmarole of Ash being like, hey, we can be friends. I don't care if you bring bad luck. You're super strong. We can get along. And of course, in the end, Ash catches Gengar, which I'm okay with.
I actually like this because it's not Ash never even once says he says we can be friends. He doesn't even try to catch Gengar. It's Gengar who throws Ash a Pokeball and then Ash catches it.
Oh wait, that is something I wanted to talk. That's something I wanted to talk about because remember, didn't Ash collapse at the end of that episode?
Yeah, he's either sick or it's something to do with Gengar being in his shadow.
Yeah, and he collapses, and then he wakes up in his bed, and he's in a completely different outfit. So I thought to myself, did they mess up with that, or did they change him while he was sleeping? Because
Yeah,
oh,
the professor probably did.
that's still weird. That's a little weird.
Eh, yeah, but it might be well. He wasn't wet, so I don't really know why they changed his
Yeah,
clothes.
exactly. But of course, at the end, Gengar goes with Ash. That's his third Pokemon? Because Pikachu, Gengar, and who do you have before? Dragonite.
Um, Dragonite, yeah, he caught the
Okay,
Dragonite in the first
okay.
episode.
So that's three. So that's three Pokemon. Overall, a good episode with a different take on Pokemon abuse, just that sort of thing. And the only thing that would have made it better is if we got, because he was in the last episode with Gengar, is if we got more scenes with Francois the Magnemite.
Yeah, I'm just looking through trying to make sure I got the right episode coming up next.
Is,
All right, I'm trying to remember. I think this is
just give it to me. Go ahead.
it's either um the Pokemon orienteering or the Pokemon um the one where Scorbunny evolves.
I want to say it was. Oh no, I want to say it was the Orienteer. No, Scorbunny evolves.
Yeah, I think that came first. So this one is the one I wanted to talk about personality, because so far so the premise of this episode is that Scorbunny can't use Ember. He tries over and over again, and it just comes out as a little flash, and that's about
Which
it.
which is already kind of problematic that a fire Pokemon can't do a fire move, kind of similar to when Misty Psyduck couldn't swim, but
Yeah.
they need the plot for the episode, so whatever.
Well, the part that bugged me was based on how Go had been going throughout the series, the fact that he gives up after like five tries on Scorbunny trying to do it, and then gets angry when Scorbunny continues to try to do it, annoyed me.
Yeah, they're kind of trying to tell the story with Go that he doesn't completely like. To me, it kind of comes across as it kind of works for me because it kind of shows off Go's development of he's kind of sheltered and he's not really tactful. Like he doesn't really understand why somebody might be doing something. Like Scorbunny's not learning Ember for Go. Scorbunny's learning Ember for itself to show off to the Darmanitan that Go captured in the previous episode.
Yeah, and but just the way they do it, in my opinion, they could have had him get. I would have had him get frustrated that it wasn't working and just say, "We'll come back to it." And Scorbunny doesn't want to take a break.
Yeah, instead of just simply, oh, forget it, you'll never learn, but
You
it's
never,
cool.
yeah, you'll never learn. It's like he's a fire type. How will he never learn a fire move?
Yeah, but also we have to talk about the other part. Team Rocket having a phone booth that leads to a secret hideout.
Okay, that was one of my favorite jokes. Was Go not knowing what a phone booth was. I know
I
it's
was
the
about to
most
be.
stereotypical joke, but
It's just
oh
like
my god.
I was just like, wait. It's just like we don't know what a phone booth is. I'm like, Go, you can't. I'm like, okay, if he doesn't know what it is, but they know what it is, how much older is Team Rocket?
They're only supposed to be 16 and 17 or something like that.
Something like that. But I also just found it hilarious. I'm like, Pokemon, the Galarian region is supposed to be based on
England.
well, actually, when you look at it, it's more Northern Ireland. But to keep the fans happy, let's just say England. Shouldn't they know about those more than? Yeah, shouldn't they?
Yeah. So another point from this episode. Well, so the whole reason that Go finds the phone booth that has Team Rocket in it is because he sees Pelipper. And oh my god, I was not annoyed, but I found it hilarious when Go literally said, I never thought I would see one in the wild to a wild Pelipper.
Oh my God, yes! Thank you for reminding me of that. I'm like, real?
I think just since Journeys started, like going back and watching Sun and Moon, it's in there. Like they're flying around there. And I think we've seen them since flying around in uh, Journeys as well. So it's like,
yeah. Go is he's something. He's a little problematic at times, but overall, it leads to once again fight with Team Rocket and their I guess borrowed Pokemon, and eventually they learn a trick for Scorbunny to use Ember.
yeah. And it kind of fits in, but because this episode just dragged for me, in my opinion.
Yeah. For those of you, well, so I guess we should explain. What will happen is Score Bunny will have a rock with it, and it will balance it and kick it with its left leg, and then it will kick it and start a fire, and turn to a fireball and hit the opponent. Which it's using an outside item, so technically that should feel like cheating, but I'm sure they're not gonna touch on that. No.
Well, I mean, they've already proven that. Like, what about Cubone's Bone and Farfetch'd Squeak?
Yeah, but that's actually there. That's actually there. It's not just rock. You can't just pick up a rock and bring it with you in the battle.
But I think starting when it evolves, it automatically has the rock. So it's one of those. Okay, yeah. Unless you count held items, then that rock is its held item.
Fine, whatever. Fine, whatever. I'll just move on. We'll just move on. And ultimately, at the end, Score Bunny evolves into Raboot. But unlike most evolution times when Pokemon evolve, this one's a little different.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of going towards the Charizard or the Charmeleon Charizard route. Not quite as bad, but I think so far it's because of the argument they had right before it evolved.
Yeah, I still think it's pissed off because it goes like, I want to catch Mew. I still think that's a little part of it, but I'm not. But I could be completely wrong on that.
Yeah. Yeah, so for those of you who haven't watched and don't feel like watching, it doesn't listen all the time to Go.
It's not even that necessarily disobeys him. It's that it just doesn't show that much interest in whatever Go is doing. Like, Go will try to catch Pokemon, Raboot will be off on its own, just ignoring him or something like that.
Yeah.
Almost like a teenage rebellion phase.
Which I think they bring up in the next part.
Which we'll get to that. I will say, though, this is what bothers me about it. It's the same problem I had with Sun and Moon when they did the Litten Stoutland arc. We got one episode with them going through learning about Litten and Stoutland's relationship, and then several episodes it wasn't touched upon, and then they finally explain the next part several episodes later. And they do that exact same thing regarding Raboot's behavior, and I'm still not a fan of it. Like, can we just move on from episode to episode with stories? Not everything has to be dragged out in between episodes.
I mean, you can bring stuff back up, but yeah, you should continue things directly a lot of the time.
Right.
All right.
Overall, a little bit of a problematic episode at times, but overall, I still see the worth in it. The next episode was the gym battle.
Yeah.
Gym battle.
So, pretty much in this one, Lieutenant Surge is away, so they've got a substitute gym leader, and Ash goes there to have his first world coronation battle.
Right. Like we've mentioned before, you win, you rank up, you can... Yeah, you win, you rank up. That's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot more to it than that.
Yeah. Now, this one, there wasn't much to this episode. It pretty much all took place in the gym.
Right. I do remember though when she's like, when the gym leader, because the gym leader knows Ash, she's like, oh, you're Ash Ketchum, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, that's me. Oh, Lieutenant Surge has told me about you. I'm like, wait, does Lieutenant Surge does she know all of Lieutenant Surge's challengers, or is it just specifically Ash?
And then they mentioned that it's just Ash, because apparently when his Pikachu stuck its tail in the ground, it was kind of a unique way to beat a Raichu.
Yeah, because I'm sure nobody else has ever had a unique way for beating that gym. Whatever. And also, I love how it's like, oh yeah, and I beat Lieutenant Surge for this badge. I'm like, yeah, that's like the one badge you got fairly in Kanto. Don't get cocky about it. That's like one of 3 badges, maybe.
Yeah, because I don't remember Koga's, because I think I've only seen Koga's battle once.
Yeah, it's been so long. I'm a little fuzzy on it.
I remember Brock's, Misty's,
Sabrina.
Yeah, Sabrina, because he brought in a Pokemon that he didn't own because he never caught it in a Pokeball. So
And it's funny that you mentioned that because Haunter evolves into Gengar, and now he has a Gengar.
yeah, so I mean, this really so we'll get to it I think it's the next episode, the episode after it is we'll get to about their how strong his team is going to be this time.
Yeah, and there's a couple of other things I want to talk about within the future to this, but we can get to that. We can get to that later. Overall, it was a pretty decent gym battle. Not one of the better, more creative. I don't know. It wasn't one
It
of
was a
the
good introduction to how the matches are going to play out from this part of the series.
right, right. I can yeah. That's a good way to. And also, we kind of see Raboot kind of gain interest in like battling more competitively because it gets really into the battle at times while kind of trying to remain aloof about it. So maybe that'll lead to something, maybe not, but who knows?
The last point I want to bring up is now that we've got these other Rotom forms, it's like, why aren't these Pokemon?
Aren't
Like,
they?
well, but you can't catch a Rotom drone or a Rotom cell phone or a Rotom Dex.
Yeah, but is there a Rotom inside? Oh, gee.
So it's one of those. I think I hope that eventually we might get more Rotom phones. Maybe if we get Gen 4 remakes in a year or two. So
If we ever get them
yeah,
at this point.
but
Overall,
if we get
though,
them,
yeah. So like I said, pretty good, but we've seen better gym battles. And oh dear. Oh no, I like this next episode. The next episode was the Ditto episode.
okay, I'll let you take most of this one because I didn't care for this episode too much.
Okay. So I'm just gonna like a quick rundown. So Ash and Go get invited to the set where there's this movie being shot with Pokemon because why not? Okay, so and basically there's this Ditto that can turn into a Gardevoir, but every now and then it slips out of the transformation while they're filming, and the director is getting pissed off about it. He's like, okay, hey, you need to if you don't get this right, we're gonna find somebody who can. And its trainer or caretaker, I guess, is worried about Ditto and just all it's doing. But Team Rocket steps in and basically kidnaps Ditto at first, but at the same time helps it get better along the way with its transformation.
It's not even that they kidnap it; it flees there because the director is scaring it.
Right. And here's the thing: I like it, because I don't know if this is I don't know if this is intentional or not. It probably isn't, but I remember in season 1 where Duplica, the girl who owned the Ditto, I remember they were the cause of it to get better with its transformations. But rather than last time where they basically threatened it and said, "Hey, if you don't get this right, then we're gonna have a problem." They actually changed from, okay, you can do this. You can get this transformation done. We believe in you. So I don't know if that, like I said, I don't know if that was an intentional callback or if I'm just overthinking it. But to me, I saw it as it was another example of Team Rocket being what we love about Team Rocket: bumbling idiots, but good people deep down.
And I did like that part about the episode. The only part is I struggled to follow. Okay, who actually like the Ditto's trainer? Is it the caretaker? Because when she's meets up with Ash and Go to help search for it, she's talking about how the director's the one who found it. So is it the director's Pokemon? And it's just, but its handler is this? It's like, so it's one of those that kind of threw me off. Or is it Wild still and they're just hiring it? Are they paying Ditto?
I was about to say, does money exist in the Pokemon universe? Do Pokemon get paid? What's the deal with that?
We know money works because they both Team Rocket and Ash and the gang have gone hungry before because they didn't have money.
How do they even how do they get money in the first place? Like Team Rocket, I assume they have funds where they steal it, but how do Ash and everybody else get money?
I don't know, because I just remember there being episodes where they get into town and Ash is like, "Let's go get something to eat," and Brock would pull out and say, we don't have any money. They did, and then their stomachs would growl. And in the end, they get a meal from someone because they're helping them.
Oh, Jesus. Anyways, but if it wasn't for the Team Rocket or just Team Rocket helping Ditto and like showing better of their characters, this would easily have been a do nothing episode. But that was my take on it.
Yeah. Overall, I could like the episode. It's just I think it was similar to how you felt about the temple. I didn't care for the side characters in this one.
Yeah, okay. The side characters for Pokemon are really hit or miss.
Yeah. So the next episode was
The next episode is
Riolueg.
No, the next I see the next you're skipping ahead. The next episode is the orienteering day.
Oh.
Yeah, I have the Netflix app open. We're good.
Okay, then yeah, we'll go over that one because I must not have taken notes about that one.
Yeah, I wasn't into this episode. I'm gonna be completely honest. I did not like this episode.
I found it as just a regular episode. It was kind of boring. I liked the idea of a professor taking out a group of kids, similar to the very first, or I guess it's the second episode or first episode, I don't remember.
Right.
Where Professor Oak's taking the kids. It's like someone who's a professional taking the kids out to explain Pokemon that live in their area.
Yeah, but I guess for me the problem it kind of felt like it was all over the place because just for a set up Ash, Go, and Chloe. Yeah, that's right. Chloe's still a character in this. They basically have to take care of these kids and kind of show them around, show them different Pokemon, show them all these different areas and stuff like that. And I don't know. It kind of made me realize Chloe has nothing to do in this series right now.
Yeah, I think this falls into the same category as the Litten kind of thing. They're doing something with her, but haven't progressed far enough for you to actually know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't know. It got to because part of her shtick is she's kind of indifferent to Ash and Go. Like she doesn't necessarily hate them, but she doesn't necessarily love spending time with them. And I kind of found that when Go was talking to the kids, like, hey, these type of Pokemon are known for this, this, and this. I'm gonna catch them, and she's just like, what do you do? And she kind of just criticizing him for it. I'm like, man, at least he's teaching them. You're not saying anything to these kids. They've learned more from Go than they have from you this entire episode. I don't know. Well, it seems like they don't really know what they want with Chloe right now, or whatever her Japanese name is. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes me wonder where they're going to go. Is she going to become a Pokemon trainer, or is she going to be the first 10-year-old character that goes, I don't want to be a Pokemon trainer at all?
Well, if she is that, then I'm going to be upset because I would trade lives with her instantly. Let's see. Would you rather be a Pokemon trainer or not? Pokemon trainer.
Yeah. So I hope that they do something with her. Do I think they might not? Unfortunately, I do think there's a chance that they'll just be like, well, she's a side character, but yet she has a prominent spot in like all the intros.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also know it's where I really started to notice Go's thing of catching Pokemon just by throwing Pokeballs at it's really starting to get to me. Like the first several episodes, I was like, whatever, it's fine. But now I'm starting to notice like it just bothers me.
It's bugging me a little bit, but it's going to really annoy me if he catches some legendary Pokemon in one Pokeball or two Pokeballs that he throws at it without doing anything.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember trying to do that as a kid, but...
Yeah, and the worst part is, that's not even teaching the kids, because if Like let's pretend you and I are doing this. We're teaching kids about Pokemon. One of the things I'd be saying is, okay, guys, if you want to catch a Pokemon on, you're gonna have to weaken it first. You're gonna have to battle it. You're gonna have to do all this other stuff. I wouldn't just say, oh, just throw a Pokeball at it, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and was this the episode that? Oh God, yes, this was the Farfetch'd episode as well.
Yeah.
Which, so there in this episode, there's a Farfetch that Go keeps running into, who keeps hitting his Pokeballs back into his face.
Which
I think
which is actually pretty funny.
Yeah, he throws a fastball the first encounter, a curveball the second encounter, and then proceeds to throw what's it called, a spitter or
I thought it was a changeup.
changeup. That's it.
Because changeups are kind of slow pitches.
And so that's how he catches it. It swings early and doesn't recover.
Yeah, which I found to be kind of stupid because Chloe was like, "Hey, Go, the Farfetch is back." He catches it. He's like, "Yeah, I caught it," and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "If you didn't want him to act like this, you shouldn't have told him." Hold on, but also there's a Team Rocket attack. Ash has to battle some dude. Ash battles some guy. He wins, of course. He increases in rank.
Yeah, there. What else was there? I mean, in the end, the kids all start telling the people who they traveled with. Oh, I want to be just like you. It's like, why do you want to be just like them?
I was just like, oh, kids, you've got to have a higher ceiling than that. But also, Team Rocket tricks them with a Lugia balloon.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that. But then the real Lugia shows back up.
Yes, and after everybody leaves, it transforms back into Mew, giggles, and flies off.
Oh, I don't remember that part.
Okay.
I was only half paying attention, apparently, during this episode, though.
Okay. That's all right. I'm sure there's like 1 or 2 episodes that you're going to have to talk completely through. But overall, I liked it. No, I can't say that. I didn't like this episode. It felt kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it felt like that they did it so that Go could capture 10 new Pokemon in the episode or something like that.
Yeah, basically. And I don't feel like anything was accomplished because I don't feel like the kids learned anything.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, they learned a little bit because they used the Pokedex to say, hey, here's what this Pokemon does. But it's like, well, I could do that at home. Why did we go out to see this if you could have told me like this? So I don't know.
Anyways, next episode was the Riolu egg, and this episode I kind of had mixed feelings about.
Yeah, they kind of did that chosen one thing again with Ash, because Ash is the one who can hear the egg.
Yeah, I was about to say,
can sense Ash.
Look, if it had just been simply Ash saves the egg or something, it hatches, and then Ash saves Riolu or something, that would have been fine. But now they're doing this whole, I can hear the egg or some BS like that. I don't know.
And then they have, I know it's the aura and stuff, but that was kind of a movie-only thing at one point, and now it's an actual thing, and it's like, why?
And the whole time, I also noticed at times Go's like, oh man, I wish I had to call it. I'm like, dude, you're gonna catch like 7 of them by like episode 100. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah,
I also just did like how when Riolu hatched, it ran off rather than actually like, because if it can basically talk to Ash through its aura or some crap like that or something like that, why is it like so nervous and running away? Even as a child, like it can still talk to him. Like that just bugs me.
Yeah, and then the whole fact that it had like a whole bunch of trainers in the Sinnoh area, and none of them could get the egg to hatch, so they brought it here to the Kanto region now, and it's been with Nurse Joy to be observed, and well, it seemed to react to you, Ash, so you can have it. It's like, why? Like, why couldn't Ash have caught a Riolu? Like, have a whole episode revolving around maybe like the end of the episode where Riolu's battling constantly, trying to get stronger on its own, and then Ash has to save it. But imagine like there Ash sees the Riolu and it's constantly doing this, constantly hurt, and Ash goes and brings berries to it and then leaves. And then comes back the next day and brings new berries. And Ash observing
Yeah.
Riolu.
Yeah.
I think that could have been so much better. It's like he earns Riolu's trust by keeping an eye on it, and then eventually it decides to join him.
Yeah, and a lot of people might say, well, they've done episodes like that before. And yet, I do appreciate them trying something different, but it just fell flat at times. I will say, the one thing I did find kind of interesting is when they're talking to Go, it's like, well, 2 points. One, where they're saying, oh, people carry eggs all the time, and it shows people carrying eggs in like these satchels and on their backs and stuff like that. I'm like, how is that not been in the games yet? How can I not have a little sash that I'm holding my egg in? Why that needs to be in the next game. That needs to be in the next game. Something like that.
I also like the part where they're like, we don't even know if Pokemon lay eggs. They may just find these eggs and then stuff. It's like
that was the second part.
It's like just, what?
How else?
So they find the eggs in wild, and then what? Do they both fertilize it to make it that Pokemon, or what happens?
I'm just like, I know this is supposed to be a kid's show, but you can just say they lay eggs. That's fine. As long as you don't show it, it can just be like they lay eggs. We don't need a mystery of like, oh, I've never seen a Pokemon lay an egg. We don't need to think about that.
And then the question becomes, well, the only question I always have is the Pokemon, or have the Pokemon eggs be literally like the first stage or stage 0, because they don't just hatch. They don't just break. The egg doesn't just break usually, unless it's a Togepi for some reason.
Right.
Every other egg we've seen, it glows. There's no shell left, and then there's a Pokemon.
It pretty much evolves. It pretty much evolves into a Pokemon, right?
You might see cracks appear and stuff, but it pretty much, yeah, you're right. It pretty much evolves. So it's like it's stage 0. It can't defend itself, but it's stage 0.
Yeah. Overall, like I said, kind of a rough episode, but I appreciate what they were trying to do. And Ash catches a Riolu. He has, like we said, not Ash, Pikachu, Dragonite, Gengar, and Riolu. And if you guys have noticed something, none of these Pokemon are Galarian Pokemon, which kind of bothers me.
Yeah, that bothers me. But then this is going to be Ash's strongest team. Because once Riolu evolves into Lucario, it's already 3 heavily used Pokemon in, like, from actual tournaments.
Right.
Pikachu is overpowered for a Pikachu. We don't know if it actually is or not, but they say it is.
Yeah.
So that's that. I've been spoiled for one. I'm not going to spoil you if you haven't seen what's coming up.
I think I know what you're talking about, but let's leave our audience guessing.
And based on something else I've seen, I have a feeling I know what his final Pokemon will be on his team for at least this one.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I wanted to get into. Like, we talked last time about how we're kind of okay with the Journeys format, but we would like more of a focus on the Galar region itself. We haven't been getting that these episodes, and it really, really bothers me because it doesn't make Galar... Because it just doesn't... Here's the thing. As much as you don't like certain regions or certain generations of Pokemon, they at least get their focus. They at least get time and effort put into them. It just sort of feels like Galar is not that big of a deal. And honestly, it kind of worsens it for me.
Yeah, because I'm thinking back, I mean, since we left at the end of, like, the second episode or the first episode, they haven't been back this season. They had already they traveled like 3 times there in the first one, but hasn't happened this time.
Yeah, there's another point about that, but we'll get to it a little bit later. Anyways, is that all for this episode?
I think so. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's all I have for that episode.
And the next episode is where they finally readdress the Raboot situation.
Yep. So in this episode, Ash, Go, Pikachu, and what's this one's name?
Raboot.
Raboot go I guess, back to the Hoenn region. I think this is the second time they've been there. And to observe the Beautifly migration, which that part of the episode I kind of like. It's like they have to have a north wind to be able to, for them to will to evolve.
I was about to say, did they ever address that with May's Beautifly?
No, because it just hatched or just evolved and then it was done.
Oh, that's right. And they did the thing where Jesse had a Cascoon and May had a Silcoon. They were trying to they were really weird about that.
Yeah, but it was a good way back then of distinguishing that there are two different lines for this Pokemon.
Yeah, and the cool plot twist of Jessie loving her dust dots when it evolved. That was cool. But yeah, I like the Beautifly stuff. I like learning. That's one of the things I really like about Pokemon. I like learning about how different Pokemon have like these, I guess I want to say cultural different, I wouldn't necessarily say cultural differences, but just different ways of evolving, living, hobbies, that sort of thing. I like kind of like that lore.
It's how they respond to their natural environment.
Exactly.
Like in this episode, as I was saying, the Beautiflies require a strong north wind to evolve. So they evolve from their Silcoon to Beautifly when the wind blows strong and then migrate north, I guess, or south, whichever it is.
Yes, but the episode isn't the Beautifly stuff is not
The
the meat.
pretense.
It's not the meat of this episode. The meat of this episode, like we said, is basically Go learning how to deal with Raboot's new personality.
Yeah, so we as they're looking for the Silcoons or Beautiflies, they run into, I think it's a Zigzagoon, right? That
Yes.
who appears to be heavily injured, and so while Ash and Go are trying to take care of it, another Zigzagoon's trying to steal Ash's bag because he sets it down to get a potion out or something, and
Yeah.
uh, of course, Raboot catches it and scares both off, and they run off to their Ludicolo or Lombre. Lombre,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it was Lombre.
And that's for the majority of the episode. I think that's the last we see of them until the end.
Yeah, and it's just, there's a little bit of a blow up between Go and Raboot because he's like, what happened to you? Why aren't you like super friendly and stuff like you used to be? And there's this woman in town who's like, oh no, my teenage son my son acts the same way. Like I still know that he loves me, but this is just something he's going through, which is weird because we don't generally get that rapid of a shift in terms of evolutionary lines, and I appreciate that that's how they're explaining the temperament thing. But of course, we have to get the whole trope of Go blowing up and getting mad and just I don't know. It's time episode. I understand what they're trying to do with Go's character. Like they're not really like he's kind of sheltered. He doesn't really know how to handle certain stuff. But there are times where he just kind of comes across as whiny for it.
Yeah, we didn't really see it in the first part, but everything in the first part was going exactly to plan for him, except for catching Mew first.
Right.
So the part I wanted to bring up was this the first God, what was it? Actual dance battle?
I was hoping you'd forget about that because I didn't want to talk about that. Oh, that was some next level. Oh, the cringe is strong with that. Yes, it's the first ever cringe battle, cringe battle, dance battle in Pokemon. I can't talk. The first dance battle in Pokemon, yes, and hopefully it's the last.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know and don't care, Raboot befriends the Zigzagoon and the Lombre and starts taking them food, um, and then teaching them how to dance, which seems kind of weird until, and it's actually is still kind of weird. 3 Loudred appear, because the territory that the Zigzagoon and the Lombre are in is full of berries and shelter.
I really expected this to turn into a full-on musical. Well, like
But
we get Pokemon singing their lines, and Ash and Go sing back up, and I was full on expecting that. They didn't go that route, which is both good yet somewhat disappointing. But yeah, it's weird. Dance-offs are weird. Don't put them in Pokemon.
unless it's Ludicolo, whose gimmick is that he dances.
Yeah, that whole episode. Tierno was rolling over in his grave during this episode, and he's not even dead. Anyway,
Yeah, so now we get to the real kind of end and iffy moment. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So it gets to the point where Ash and Go have to head back home. So Ash is already towards the train. He's waiting on Go. Go comes back, and but Raboot's not with them. And Ash is like, wait, why isn't Raboot with you? It was just like, well, Raboot just seems it seems like it'd be happier here, and it's just. I don't know. It has friends here. It should stay here. And Ash's like, okay, did you tell Raboot that? And Go's like, oh. I'm just like, what is with this? I feel like Pokemon does this trope more than anyone else. I'm going to leave you behind for your better good. It's just like, no, I want to stay with you. I understand it's a case of the trainers being, I guess, selfless and just being considerate, but it just comes across as stupid sometimes, especially with how often it seems to happen.
And this was, I think, the first time I can remember where one of the main trainers leaves a Pokemon and doesn't tell it goodbye, or doesn't attempt to tell it goodbye. Because in like every other series, when Ash has left a Pokemon, or even attempted to leave a Pokemon, like in the first series where he tried to leave Pikachu with the flock of Pikachus, he says goodbye and he runs off, but he says goodbye.
Yeah.
It's like, you didn't even tell it goodbye. You didn't even let it try to stop you.
Yeah, and just for people to know, Raboot was on the train with them. It came out. They're still friends and everything. But hypothetically, had Raboot not been on that train, this episode would have ended very, very differently.
Especially because, so Go, as Ash is telling him this, Go gets on, the train doors close, and the train starts to move pretty much, and Go breaks down and runs to the end of the train thinking he's made a mistake. And that's the only reason, and then Raboot's in the back car and comes out.
I was about to say, yeah, it's kind of a dick move of Raboot just to be waiting in the back and just be like, sup, did
you miss me?
Like, did you miss me? Because I didn't miss you. That's its attitude, basically.
Yeah, so you start to see that they are going to get along, but they're pushing all these other things on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I guess the real problem for me is it's not like Go has other Pokemon that they do this with. It's just Raboot, because every other Pokemon he catches, he kind of just leaves. He doesn't really do a whole lot with them. The Cubone at least had its own episode. It just, I don't know. I don't like that. It's almost like his team doesn't matter.
Yeah, because I think in other episodes he's brought in, oh, I'll use this one, and he has this one randomly. It's like, okay, so he's just randomly switching out his Pokemon every single episode.
Yeah, it makes it kind of difficult to analyze his relationship with other Pokemon.
Yeah. So, and speaking of other Pokemon, the next episode heavily focuses on all these other Pokemon.
Oh no! Remind me, what episode is this?
This is the missing food episode.
You go first.
I think this one would have made 2 great episodes had they separated it out.
Okay, I'm listening.
So there's kind of 2 parts to this. One is all the Pokemon food is going missing before all the Pokemon get a chance to eat. So Pokemon are getting hungry and getting annoyed and attacking each other.
Which happens to me when I get hungry.
And then the second part is there's I think it happens when Golurk's seal breaks. They have
Yeah.
bad weather, so they have to defend some defenseless Pokemon.
Yeah, and the whole thing kind of turns into like gang turf war style of Pokemon on battles, which it actually is kind of funny when I start to think about it. But I don't know. I guess my biggest issue is it's issues from Pokemon to Pokemon. And I remember in the first season when they do the shipwreck episode, the Pokemon have subtitles when they talk, so we have a good sense of, even if it gets annoying to hear their voices over and over and over, we still have some sense of what they're trying to say. There wasn't any of that in this episode, with the exception of like one like fantasy sequence where the two Pokemon are talking about a plan they have. So when I'm just hearing just constant sound effects with no real reasoning or explanation as to what they're saying, it really, really takes it. It really just takes me out of the episode.
Yeah, so I would pretty much to make these two better episodes, I would have separated them out where the first episode would be the food episode. They're trying to find it. I can kind of understand that where you're coming from, but you kind of know that they're just angry because there's no food for them, and so having the different Pokemon team up to try to attack the other Pokemon and prevent them from getting food so I can eat.
Yeah. And I did think it was kind of funny when Farfetch wanted to eat its own league. That got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah, that was good. Um, so I'd actually make this like a two-parter. So, um, like this could have been a good uh like end of part two leading into part three.
Yeah, yeah,
Similar.
I get like
So
similar to what they did with part one.
so in the end of the episode, it's revealed that it's God, what's that? It's the new squirrel regional rodent.
Yeah, yeah. The funny thing is when they did the "Who's that Pokemon" thing, and every single time I always say it's Pikachu, it's Meowth, it's this. I completely forgot the name for it, so I was just like,
I can remember its evolution. That's Greedent, but I can't remember this one. Squoval. Yes, that's it. Squoval.
oh, that's right. Yeah, good job. I was trying to look
So
it up, but okay.
Squoval, which is the squirrel Pokemon, that its special thing is that it hides berries and hides food. So it's hidden all the food. So what I would have done was, okay, they they can't catch it during the night. They finally track it down and find all the food, and they're like, okay, we'll leave out extra food. So they leave out extra food, and I would have had as the series, or as the ending, it's climbing up Golurk, and it gets on the seal, and the seal falls out, and then it flashes up to Golurk, and the eyes and the crack in the head turn red, and then that's the end of the season.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I guess my thing is I find it really strange because when it starts storing all this Pokemon, I'm like, first of all, you don't need to you don't have to hibernate. So it seems weird. Second of all, I do find it odd that they didn't even acknowledge, oh, maybe it's this other Pokemon that's in the habitat. I'm like, you guys have Pokedexes. You can find out with just one look at the Pokedex, you can find out probably who's doing this, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's an okay episode that could have been two good episodes.
Yeah.
Because then this, as I said, the second part would be is Golurk without its seal goes crazy and starts attacking everything, causing a massive windstorm inside a greenhouse. So it's like flooding in the greenhouse. They get the seal back on Golurk, but now the storm's still raging, and Go's three Cascoon are all about to evolve, but need time.
Oh, that's right. He caught three. He caught three Casco, and I'm just like, you could have had a Silcoon, you dork.
He didn't even. He caught three Whirlpool because he was sure that at least one of them would evolve into Silcoon.
That's not how that works, though.
Especially back then, because you only got one, I think, per game. Weren't they regional exclusives?
Something. It was a lot more difficult. All I know for sure is it's gonna suck for him when he starts to catch Tyrogue, and he wants to evolve them into Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and Hitmontop. That's going to be a pain for him.
Oh, just wait till they get to the Alcremies.
Oh, Jesus.
Because each
Oh,
there's like 7 forms of each. Okay, but yeah, so I think that this episode could have been 2 good episodes, one focusing on the food and one with a rampaging goat lurk.
Yeah, probably my least favorite episode of the bunch.
Let's see.
And now we get to probably one of my favorite episode of the bunch, the Team Rocket vacation episode.
Yeah, this was a good one. There's a lot of my stuff is on this one is about different things with Team Rocket.
Yeah. Okay. So how about you go first?
All right, so let's start by describing the episode. So Team Rocket gets a message from HQ. I don't know her name. I saw that she's in other episodes.
Yeah, she's like Jesse's main rival now that Cassidy's not around.
Yeah, she's the boss's assistant, pretty much. Gives them vacation, and it's revealed that the only reason they're being given vacation is so that they can't be selected for part of the mission to Sinnoh to steal Pokemon.
Right.
So they go to the resort in Sinnoh, where and it's supposed to be a really nice. It's got like a beach. There's a lake with supposedly a giant Pokemon in it. Shopping mall. It's the resort town from the Diamond and Pearl Platinum games.
Right, and they, as usual, they take part in disguises that really don't actually disguise them, but everybody's too stupid to figure it out. Except for Pikachu in one part where Pikachu looks back kind of like, wait a minute, do I know? I'm like, well, Pikachu, you've been fighting these guys for like 20-something years, and now you're starting to realize they might be suspicious? Forget it.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but they had a southern accent.
No, of course. How could I not notice? That was the best part of the episode. Team Rocket with southern accents. James especially was committed to that.
But I liked how, like, Ash and Go asked them for help for different things, and they're like, and they actually helped them. It's like, oh yeah, it's over there, and then they go and get fishing poles. Oh yeah, you want this one with this lure, and
and during the episode, Go catches a Goldeen and a Magikarp,
and another Magikarp.
Yes, and the Pokemon at the bottom of the lake, the giant Pokemon at the bottom of the lake, is a giant Magikarp.
Isn't that lake supposed to be one of the 3 lake trios?
Yeah.
They couldn't even make a cameo appearance, which kind of was upsetting to me. That was the only part I didn't like about the episode.
Yeah. But overall, there's a giant plan to steal a bunch of the Pokemon that's led by the main Team Rocket people. They capture Pikachu even as Pikachu's getting poisoned, and even through their disguises, Jesse, James, Meowth, and Wobbuffet pretty much help the twerps, and they save the day.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think this is the first time Team Rocket has had where like it's not just Jesse and James and as Team Rocket. There's the other evil teams, but this is the first time since Johto, I think, that they've had an episode where it's Team Rocket So it's kind of nice to see that again. I mean, we've seen Aqua and Magma, Galactic, Plasma, Flare.
Yeah.
Skull was just kind of thugs. I don't remember any episodes of them being actual bad guys. They were just thugs.
Yeah, but I especially like, because normally at the end it would have been like, hey, the disguise would come off and be like, hey, you're Team Rocket, even though you helped us, Thunderbolt. And I'm like, Ash, you dick. But no, the episode ended with them not knowing. It ended with them being like, oh, okay. Hey, that's fine. So to me, I think that could lead to like a couple of great episodes where Team Rocket are kind of struggling. Like, do we keep helping them or do we stay loyal to Team Rocket? Because like we said, they're criminals, but they're good people deep down. Like, they're not the monsters everyone that makes them out to be.
Yeah. So something I also want to bring up, based on this episode, I started thinking, well, is Team Rocket, like the organization, not Jesse James and Meow? I'm assuming they've been moving into the territory after, because all the teams have been defeated pretty much. So are they taking over as the new bad guy team in every region as things happen? Because that's Sinnoh, so there's no Team Galactic left. So are they just hiring all the old Galactic grunts as new Team Rocket grunts there?
That could be a problem. That could be a potential problem. I mean, even if they were following Galar more closely, what? They're not going to have Team Yell be the bad guys. They're not. They're not.
Yeah, I mean, if we get, I doubt we're ever going to get a sequel game because all they're just going to do is add new stuff through DLC.
Which I'm completely fine with at this point.
All right, so this brings me to the point I wanted to ask what you thought, and that's Jesse James and Meowth at the end of the series when they actually are, if it doesn't get canceled at the end, because I have a feeling that it's going to go to the point where it's just someone will eventually cancel it.
Oh, you mean like down the line? You don't mean like this will be the last series of Pokemon?
No.
Okay, I was about to be like, I think they got a couple of years left, good years left. Anyways,
however many years it goes, and then if Jesse James and Meowth are still the antagonists, they're not the bad guys; they're just the antagonists for the hero.
Sure, yeah.
I have a feeling that they'll end it somehow now that with Team Rocket itself, the whole organization is coming to an end, and it's going to be Jesse James and Meowth who take part in taking down, because they've helped take down Team Aqua and Team Magma. They teamed up with Ash and the group in that one. I think they took part in with Team Galactic.
There were a couple of episodes where they teamed up with the Twerps, yeah.
Take out the other teams. So I think that the series ends. Then if it shows like a few years later or anything, Jesse James and Meowth have all become part of the international police and are working with like Looker and stuff to take down evil organizations.
I was about to say they'd be a lot more useful than Officer Jenny, because every time Officer Jenny shows up, it's like, oh, you're under arrest, and then everybody escapes. I'm like, yeah, you're really good at your job, Officer Jenny. Really good.
But I have a feeling that they could do something like that, because they've already taken part in that. And yes, they've stolen Pokemon, but they've never gotten away with it. And then, I mean, in this one, they've returned Ditto. They've fought off Team Rocket itself. I mean, they've been more helpful.
They helped Ash get his poisoned Pikachu back.
Yeah. They're doing all sorts of these different things that are like, wow, maybe they're giving up on all of like this.
I did notice that, because remember, in Alola, they didn't even try and steal Pikachu or anything that often. It seemed like they were much more concerned with their Malasada shop. Yeah, it seemed like they were more focused. So we always talk about Ash being slowly phased out of the series. Maybe Team Rocket's role is changing. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we don't see them every episode anymore.
Which I appreciate. It makes the fact that when they do show up, it makes it feel more important, and it gives the audience more of a chance to miss them.
Yeah. The only thing and I can kind of understand why they're doing it, if they're phasing them out slightly, is that they don't need their own Pokemon. But I kind of hope that the Choodle that they captured in Galar and is now in the like dispenser for Pokemon becomes a recurring character. He keeps showing up for them and that's kind of becomes one of their Pokemon.
That thing is ridiculously powerful for something so young.
Yeah. All right. I think that's all the points I had saved.
Okay, no, because I have a point for you. So this is going to be a spoiler. So for most of those of you who don't know, just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, So there's an episode where Ash and Go meet the Alola gang.
Hmm.
There's an episode where he does that, and there's been a lot of speculation that Dawn's going to come back next, Serena, May, and that everybody's supposed to be coming back within
Yeah,
maybe not this one season, but throughout the maybe 3 or 4 seasons that Journeys
however
is
many
supposed to
in
go for.
the Journey series. Yeah.
Yes, within the Journey series. And I just want to talk about that because I'm going to be honest. I don't really think I don't know if I'm on board for that because, like I said before, I like that Journeys is trying to do something different, but I want Journeys to be more reflective of the Galar region, of the different Pokemon, about the different Pokemon, the characters, maybe a few of the game rivals or something, or professors or something like that. I don't really want this to be the series where they just bring everybody back. I want this series to be Pokemon Journeys where Ash battles Leon and meets Go and all this other stuff. I don't want it to be, the series where everybody came back and Serena and Ash. You know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah, it feels like Galar's getting the short end of the stick so far because there really hasn't there's been about 5 episodes maybe counting like two-parters in Galar,
Yeah.
and we've gotten a whole bunch in Kanto because it's Kanto. We're
Yeah,
always going to get that's always going to be one of the top
I
ones
was
if
about
we
to
have
say, I don't even feel like complaining about it anymore. Yeah, Kanto.
um I think only one Johto, maybe a second one. We've gotten I think 3 for Sinnoh,
We've gotten a good amount of Hoenn stuff.
a few for Hoenn.
Unova, we've gotten like 2, maybe 3.
And uh, Kalos, we haven't gone back to Kalos yet, I don't think.
I think we've gotten like 1. And, mini spoiler, we're definitely going back to Kalos at some point.
Yeah, I don't mind them going to other ones, but I almost wish that the professor was based in Galar, so you could center the episodes around there. But oh, well, there's this phenomenon here. Go visit this
Yeah,
uh,
like if they
region.
had Professor, I don't know, Magnolia, is that her
Yeah,
name?
I think that's her name. Yeah,
Magnolia or Sonia or somebody like that.
yeah, and tied into the region because yeah, it's really getting the short end of the stick of not getting to tell its stories.
Heck, we don't even know if Hop is in the end. We don't even know if he's going to be a thing necessarily.
Probably will, but it'll probably follow the how
Oh God,
format. So they'll introduce him halfway through the series and then
how
only have
did
it give 5 episodes.
nothing? Like Jonker Joe always complains about how did nothing in the video games. He does even less in the anime.
Yeah, the only things I know he was introduced in one episode. What did he? Since I didn't watch until I caught up on the finale, did he show up in anything else after that until
He
they
he
were at the
sho-
tournament?
he showed up in one episode. I think several episodes later, he got like his own centric episode, and then basically the league started.
Yeah, it's like that's kind of if I had seen enough of it, he'd probably be on one of my least favorite just because they don't develop him enough.
Right. That's right. We have to do the other part of that list sometime. Anyways, but it's like I was saying, I want Galar to be the focus of this series, maybe throw in some other stuff, but it just doesn't seem like they're willing to do that. And this might actually turn into the series where people, instead of people saying this is where Ash battles Leon and Marnie and Bede and Hop or just and Go and all this other sort of stuff, it's just, this is going to be the series they brought back everybody, and I don't want that to be this show's legacy. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a chance that it could be they could go in a really bad direction, which would be not to allow for new characters to shine and just bring back old and probably not do the best job with them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the fact that they're going to have to bring back all these voice actors and hope that they're available to do it is going to be the worrying thing as well.
I think I heard like a rumor that Dawn's voice actress already confirmed, but like I said, that's just a rumor. We don't know anything yet.
Yeah. I mean, since we're already talking about spoilers, I mean, yeah, I know that at least one of Ash's attempts at the tournament is going to, he's going to lose. And
Yeah, and I'm excited to
I
get to
don't,
that
but I
because
hear
I've
that
heard good things about that episode or that series of episodes.
really, I've heard the opposite. I've heard that
Oh man.
like uh, they don't do they don't follow it up. It's like it ends one way and then the next episode it starts out a completely different way.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: the main thing, good thing I've heard about it is Go's involvement of it. That's other than that, I haven't really heard anything else.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Ash's reaction. Apparently, it starts out like the one episode ends kind of sad, and then the next episode he's happy.
Yeah, yeah. And when we get to that moment with Go, the like what 3 of our fans who are Serena fans, you're gonna want to skip that because the people who've told me about this say it's a moment that you can compare Go and Serena to, where Go ends up looking like the better character and the better friend. So you might want to skip that part.
I'm trying to think.
This
The
is one
only
of
other, so the only other thing I think we can discuss is where do we think the next series is going to end? Because I have a vague recollection of what I think is going to be part 3.
sure, okay.
I think it's going to be again, spoiler alert for all this. I think it's going to be the Pikachu and Ash's fight, where because over Riolu.
I can't wait for that episode. I can't wait for that episode because I don't expect it to be a good episode. But here's the thing: if it's a bad episode, we get to talk about it regardless.
Yeah, so I have a feeling that's going to be where they end, unless that's what starts this next series. Because I know we're getting close to that. That's the next that has to be the next part, I think.
Yeah, and that'll probably be out in like what 2-3 months.
Maybe by the end of the year. If not, it'll be like January, the start of the year.
Yeah, but that's pretty much everything I had.
Yeah, overall, it was okay.
Yeah, I didn't like it nearly as much as part 1, but I'm still on board. There's just a lot more as the series progresses. There's just a lot more stuff that I'm starting to notice that I'm not huge about, but they've turned it around before. I'm sure that things can get better.
Yeah, again, I'll keep watching at least part 3. Depending on if things continue to go downhill from part 1, then maybe I'll give up partway through and you'll continue these videos on your own.
Oh,
If
Jesus.
not,
Oh, Jesus.
But if they manage to maintain about here, I'll be willing to at least binge watch 12 episodes. That's fine.
Okay, but if this series goes downhill and you stop doing these videos with me, and if I start getting comments of people saying these videos were better when Williamson was helping you, you have to come back.
Fine.
But overall, that's our thoughts on part 2 of the Pokemon Journeys Netflix stuff. Let us know. Do you agree with us? Do you think it's gone downhill? Do you think is it better than part 1? Talk to us. Let us know. Our next video should be, what are we doing next?
Eventually. Maybe the second half of the Pokemon characters from the anime we like. I guess this would be this one.
Oh God, that's gonna be a long video, but I'll be ready for it. Or we might do a follow up on our least favorite cliches of our favorite cliches. We're still talking about that.
Yeah.
But anyways, this has been Foster
And Williamson.
and this has been the Anime Egotist, where hopefully this has been the Anime Egotist, where even a Brooklyn accent would make us more likable. And with the Anime Egotist, if you disagree, You're wrong.
You're watching Anime Egotists! And actually, I'm a better trainer than Brendan. Oh, come on, May. A little humility?